The Retrax 9 flush bed cover that we have on the table today is going to be an entry-level retractable option available for all 2021 and newer F-150 owners who might prefer the retractable style as opposed to other popular styles, maybe like a folding cover or a rolling cover. Now the Retrax will offer a tough aluminum construction along with a scratch-resistant matte black powder coat, all for right around that $1,300 price point. All right guys, so for those who don't know, retractable covers such as the Retrax 9 here is really all Retrax does, hence the name, right? Now they do offer a few different options here on the site that include maybe different materials for the actual cover part itself. They do also offer a powered version as opposed to a manual version. And at the end of the day, the powered options will be a good bit more money. Now the Retrax 9 is going to be the company's more entry-level or budget-friendly option, as I mentioned earlier. Still gonna boast very solid materials along with an easy-to-use retractable operation, simply just by yanking on the cable and then sliding the cover back. Very, very easy stuff. Now the cover is locking in regards to basically not being able to be open as long as the tailgate on your F-150 is locked up. So that feature, of course, along with the aluminum material, is certainly going to really up the security level for the cargo in your bed. All right guys, moving into construction now, and first up we're talking material here. Again, you will find different materials across the Retrax lineup. The Retrax 9 that we have here today is going to feature this durable aluminum for the cover itself. And now, even though there is some flex to the material, it is very, very solid and almost gives off the impression that it is one piece, even though there is some flex agent built in to obviously help this thing roll up. Now, there's no joints, there's no hinges, there's nothing like that, so it's really not a defeatable material, if you will, and that again goes to the safety and security of something like this on your F-150. Now, in addition to that, because there's no joints or hinges or anything like that, those things can eventually wear out and fail on you, and because there is none of that going on here, it certainly is going to be a very durable design long-term when it comes to operation. Now that aluminum material here for the cover itself has been powder coated, kind of in a matte black finish. Obviously that's going to deliver long-term durability along with maintaining a consistent look over the years, thanks to the UV coating that's been baked in, so it's not going to fade, it's not going to crack on you or anything like that. Now the canister itself also made from a strong aluminum material, and this is going to basically sit against the bulkhead of your bed, basically up against that back window there, and it is going to sit very flush with the rails itself, and that will help deliver a very clean look. Now that is one of the nice things about something like this. The flush nature or aspect is certainly something I always like pointing out because again, it doesn't really stick out like a sore thumb or anything like that. One thing to keep in mind here, guys, though, is that going with a cover like this, obviously the canister does take up some real estate in the bed. It is something to consider. It's not as easy to remove in a pinch if you had to remove the entire thing to maybe haul something big. So just keep that in mind. Other options like a tri-fold might fold all the way up against the rear window, giving you access to the entire bed. It's not exactly possible here with a retractable cover such as the Retrax. You can remove the canister, but just know it is something that you'll have to contend with if you use your bed frequently and need to haul big stuff often. On top of that though, guys, pretty much par for the course here. Retrax does include some drains to keep water out of the bed. This thing will help maintain a nice dry bed for your cargo, of course, and it will toss in all of the no drill hardware and the rail system, also aluminum, that the cover itself will ride on once installed. Speaking more here towards the construction, I really like that the Retrax does feature sealed ball bearings in the rail system. That does really help the cover slide very easily once installed. Again, one-hand operation thanks to the single cable or latch system. And you can, again, control where you want this thing to lock along the rails due to the design. So for instance, maybe you have a fifth wheel trailer or something like that, gooseneck that you tow with, and you need to access that in your bed. Well, you can set your locks right behind that and that way a portion of your bed will still be covered, of course, but the other will be open, and then the cover itself will lock in that position, maybe halfway or 3/4 of the way open. So I do really like that because you don't want the cover sliding around on you while you're driving, and the adjustable locking position is certainly a big feature in my book. And then last but not least here, guys, we do have to mention made in the USA, and then the Retrax 9 is backed by a 2-year limited warranty in case you run into any issues. Now your price point for the Retrax 9 will live around $1,200 to $1,300, give or take, which honestly puts this right in line with other mid-level or mid-tiered options on the site, such as the Back Industries Trifold or the Undercover Flex Trifold as well. Now that being said, the Retrax 9 is one of the most affordable retractable options on the site, period, at the time of this video. In fact, only the Proven Ground retractable is coming in about a couple $100 less. So if you did want to get into a retractable, this is certainly something to check out if you'd prefer to stick more to a budget option. Switching gears, let's talk installation, and because this is a simple bolt-on job, the site is going to stick with the strong 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. I would say taking you about 20 minutes at least to complete from start to finish using some pretty basic hand tools. But now we're going to throw it out to the guys in the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
Tools required for this install include a T25 Torx driver, a plastic pry tool, and the included Allen wrenches. What's up guys? Today we're installing a tonneau cover on our F-150, so let's get started. So now the first thing we want to do is lay out all of our pieces. I've got our main canister up against the bulkhead as well as our side rails just sitting on the sides of our bed. So now that we have that in place, we can get our rails installed into our canister. So now we can mount our side rail to our canister. I have our Torx screw threaded into the threaded hole in the side of our rail. And now we can slide it onto this black notch here. Slide that all the way back and then take a T25 Torx driver to tighten down our screw. And then you can do that same thing on the other side. Next we can assemble and install our stoppers. We're going to take one of our smaller Allen bolts and put that through the hole on the bottom, and then thread one of our lock nuts on top. Then we're going to go from the back side of the rail at this lower section and slide our nut into that. And then we're going to slide this one towards the front. We'll slide in 2 lock nuts after that with this nylon facing up. And then we'll install one more of our stoppers. So now with our first stopper all the way up front against that bolt that we installed into our side rail, we can take the included Allen wrench to tighten down our bolt. Next we can assemble and install our end caps. We're going to take that same smaller Allen bolt and put that through the bottom, and then grab our nut on the other side and thread that in. And then we're going to be sliding this nut through that slot the same way we did for our stoppers. And then we can take our included Allen wrench and tighten down our bolt. And then at the top here, we can take our little Allen screw and drop that in, and then take the included Allen wrench to tighten that down. And then you can do that same thing on the other side. Now we're ready to assemble our clamps. We have this plastic screw that's going to be going through the open hole here. There's an Allen head side that's going to be facing out. Now this is to adjust how far your rail comes off. So we'll thread that in. And now we're going to be using our long Allen bolts through the bottom here. Those are going to be threading into the 2 nuts that we inserted into the rail. So now we'll start by threading that long bolt into the nut. And then we'll twist our plastic screw until our rail is straight. And snug up our bottom bolt a little bit. And then you're just gonna adjust this plastic screw until you get it nice and straight coming down the side of the bed. We'll have to loosen this bottom one a little more. Tighten the plastic, as well as the bolt on the bottom. Now once you have this all adjusted so that your rail's straight across the side of the bed, you can go ahead and tighten down this bottom bolt. Now at this point, you can repeat the same process for the other clamp on this rail as well as the other side. You want to make sure that your clamps are positioned in the same spot on both sides. Next, we can come to our rear stopper and tighten down our bolt. Now you want this all the way up against the edge. This is what our clips are going to latch into to hold our tonneau cover in place. Then you can do that same thing on the other side. Next, we can install our drain tubes. We have holes in the bottom of our canister here. These are just going to press into place. Now for a cleaner install, I would recommend drilling a 1/2-inch hole through this grommet here so that you can stick your tube through. However, for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to be popping the grommet out with a pry tool. Then we'll find our hole and press that up into place. And then we can pop the other end of the hose out of that grommet hole. And then you can do that same thing on the other side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Retrax iX flush mount retractable tonneau cover for your 2021 and newer F-150. Thank you for watching, and for all things F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.